What's up guys, this is John and you're watching Old Stuff is Cool. I hope you're doing well. So glad you tuned in for today's video where I'm sharing with you some recent pickups. We've got some vintage comics, we've got some current comics, and we even have some original art. But before we get into the haul, if you enjoy videos about comic books and comic book related things, then please be sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please consider becoming a subscriber. These are all quick ways to help support and grow the channel. Also, if you want some extra content and a way to reach out to me and chat about comic books, you can also find me over on Instagram, also Old Stuff is Cool. Alright, so let's tackle the online purchases first. First up, we have a book that completes a run from the 90s. This is the Cosmic Corner of Marvel. I love talking about this like C-D-list character quite often, I find. And we're talking about Quasar, and this is issue 24. This is the villain Maelstrom, which first popped up all the way back in Marvel 2-in-1. This series was written by Mark Grunwald. And this is, besides being the last issue of Quasar I needed, it also is a key issue in that it features the first appearance of Infinity, the sister of Eternity. And for those of you who might not be familiar with the characters, these are cosmic beings in the Marvel Universe akin to, Galactus or the Celestials. There aren't a whole lot of complete runs that I've either gone for or have completed, so to be able to finish a complete run of a book I greatly enjoy feels really good. Do I have any hopes to see Quasar in the MCU? No, I don't think so. We're gonna see Nova or Beta Ray Bill before we see the likes of Quasar, in my humble opinion. Moving on, another online purchase. This one is quite the large stack of minor keys and run fillers. So this comes from James of Cheap Comics Collector over on Instagram. He often has claim sales, not usually live sales, for often decent prices. I've bought books from him before. I think this is my second, maybe third purchase from him. Really good experience. Everything is packed really well. Fresh bags and boards, the whole 9 yards. With this recent sale, the majority of these books came out to just under $3 per book. Again, run fillers with minor keys. So getting right into it, first we have Amazing Spider-Man number 268. I've been getting quite a few issues from Amazing Spider-Man between like issues 220 and 300. So a lot of black costume Spidey there, a lot of Hobgoblin, really enjoying that. Issue 272 featuring the first appearance of Slide. Cool dynamic cover there. Issue 281. Trying to figure out which side the glares. This is okay, right? This one features the Sinister Syndicate, I believe. Just a really cool cover overall. Issue 297, featuring a classic Doc Ock here. And this is just before Todd McFarlane jumps on the book for his stellar run. Then we have a few Captain America issues. First, issue 272. This one features the first appearance of Vermin, who I associate more as a Spider-Man villain, but I know he pops up in other books. Very recently, he popped up actually in Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu by Jed MacKay, so it's cool to see that villain pop up. Next, we have Captain America 328, and this features the first appearance of D-Man, or Demolition Man, in costume. Next up, we have some books for my Uncanny X-Men Chris Claremont run, starting with issue 187. That's with Storm and what I believe are Dire Wraiths? Maybe? Yeah, I think these are Dire Wraiths that first popped up in ROM Space Knight. Then we have issue 204. That is Rachel Summers and Nightcrawler there. And then with issue 206, again, there's Rachel Summers as Phoenix, and I believe Freedom Force. Yes, Blob has a special Freedom Force uniform right there with FF right on it, so that answers my question. Not too much X-Men. Then we have Wolverine number 80 here. This one's a kind of a key that's not a key. There's a test tube in this issue that has X-23 written on it. So some people like to say this is the first appearance of X-23 as a test tube, early experiment. Otherwise, we've got Logan and Cyber duking out on the cover here. This one's a fun one. It's Alpha Flight number 53. I picked up a few issues of Alpha Flight as of late, including issue number 1 at a recent the recent free comic book day sale at my local comic store, Kamikaze. This one with Box and Wolverine here features the first Jim Lee art for Marvel Comics. So I love Jim Lee. He has other Alpha Flight pieces, which I'm tempted to hunt down, but this is a really clean copy. I do like a good yellow cover. Makes everything else pop on it, if it contrasts like it does on this one. Then a kind of random issue of Avengers. I don't pick up Avengers very often, but issue 260 features the first cover appearance of Nebula, the granddaughter of Thanos. Later on, with the MCU appearance of Thanos and Nebula, they retconned it so that Nebula is Thanos' daughter, or adoptive daughter, whatever the case might be. I got this one because I also got, I think, an issue or two before this was her first appearance. I kind of got that for a steal, and I like the character of Nebula, whether it's the original villain incarnation or the later Guardians of the Galaxy, good guy version. So I had to pick that one up. And then my favorite pickups for the bunch are Thor related, and the first one is the issue 339, and this is Beta Ray Bill's, I think this is third appearance, but it's the first appearance of his hammer Stormbreaker, so we get the origin of that as well. Still keeping my eye out for issue 337, the first appearance of Beta Ray Bill. That's on my 2025 goal list, so this summer it might happen. During the legendary Walter Simonson run on Thor, Thor gets turned into a frog at one point, so I got both issues 364. You can see the transformation around the cover there, as well as issue 366. The differences in these, so 364, Thor's actually transformed in the issue before, in 363, but this technically is the first appearance of a frog named Puddle Gulp, which would later on become Throg. You think, of course, that's where he's transformed. No, he was transformed the issue before, but it does introduce this, significant frog later on. And then 366 is just, it's a great cover, first and foremost, but it's the first appearance of Thor as a frog in the Thor garb. Again, different character than Throg, who is a frog named Puddle Gulp given powers. I hope you caught all that. It's easy to lose sight of fun as a goal the more you get into comic collecting, and storylines like this one, it gets really tragic and epic in the Simonson run, but there's fun stuff like this as well. So, love it. Need one more book, issue 365, to complete that little, trilogy of Thor as a frog, but happy to add those to the collection. And now moving on to some local pickups. So I'm recording this on Monday, June 2nd, and these were purchased just this past weekend. First is just a solo book. This is from Magic Dragon Comics. It's a variant of Ultimate Spider-Man number 16. A little minor spoiler, but in the Ultimate Universe, Peter Parker and Mary Jane have two kids. One is Richard Parker, and guess who is wearing the costume here? Essentially, this nanite version of the costume is kind of like the symbiote costume that we are familiar with the 616 universe. This is technically the first cover appearance of Richard Parker as, he's not called Venom, but let's say in the black suit. Just a really cool cover overall. Hopefully you guys can see that without the glare. This was just a badass issue too. In issue 16, there's a huge reveal. Again, spoilers. There's a big reveal that Gwen Stacy and a kind of small inner circle of people actually are Mysterio. It's a really cool reveal that has made me really excited to read this title again month to month. And I don't pick up a whole lot of variant covers, but when I saw this just on the, on the stand, I had to get it. Last but not least is my visit to Cazi Con, formerly Ladies Con. This is a small local convention show that is put on by my LCS Kamikaze. The main theme, whether it was before or after the rebranding of it, was a theme of inclusivity and to be able to spotlight creators and vendors from all sorts of backgrounds. There's plenty of comic stuff, toy stuff, and just a celebration of pop culture. They also have some creators signing and selling stuff there. So one comic I got was from artist Hayden Sherman. I got to meet him actually at Free Comic Book Day at Kamikaze. He signed my Absolute Wonder Woman #1. He was there again and actually had told me about Batman Dark Patterns, another book that he was working on, the interiors of, and that was one of the comics that he was selling. So this is a alternate cover, the cover B of Batman Dark Patterns #1. It's actually not by Hayden Sherman. I'll be sure to, in post to put up some of his works or some internal pages, but the basic premise is that Batman is solving various cases in these 4-issue story arcs. So I think right now it's in the 2nd arc, but I like to start from the beginning. So getting issue 1, getting it signed by Hayden was awesome, and he's always a pleasure to chat with. And while I don't talk about this character a whole lot, I do have a soft spot for the Incredible Hulk. So when artist Tony McMillan, who I got to flip through his portfolio of stuff that was on sale or just original art just to show his different styles and depictions of his own creations and established characters, I quickly was looking for what I could purchase. And over here, this is an original drawing, little headshot of the Hulk. One cool thing I like to do when meeting artists is if I notice something that's very unique to their style, in this case, kind of these thick horizontal lines that appear both in the background as well as on the characters themselves. I got to ask Tony how he went about creating it, and a lot of his pieces had great little word bubbles and funny tongue-in-cheek captions. I really wanted to pick up something of his with Dr. Doom, but unfortunately he had sold out. I had gotten to the last hour of the show, so love this Hulk piece. He had a great Spider-Man piece and Batman, so this might not be the last one I picked up. And it was cool because, again, this is the original drawing. He also had prints, he had larger posters and stuff. But this was something I mentioned, in my video going to Clam City Comic Con, which I can link up here somewhere if you want to catch that. That's where artist Larry Stroman, I know him from X Factor. He had his own title over at Image Comics called Tribe. He was selling original art, but I really should have picked up a piece, but I'm pretty sure I'll get that chance again. So I'm glad I didn't miss the opportunity to support an artist that I really jive with. And now I have to figure out how do I display this in my office somewhere. But yeah, so original art, we got some signed books, some back issues, a nice mix of things. But that's my haul for this video. Now, I'd love to hear from you guys in terms of art, whether it's original art or prints, basically non-comic books. Is this something that you guys look for at local shows or even just purchasing online? Do you like adding posters? Do you like adding maybe custom trading cards? There's a lot of different options to celebrate the characters we love, to celebrate the artists we love. So hit me up in the comments with other ways that you like to collect or celebrate comic book art. But I want to thank you again for tuning in today's video, for taking some time out of your busy day. I really appreciate it, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Take care, guys.